Hi, everyone.
Hey, Darren here.
Welcome to the White Hatter YouTube show. We got a bunch of interesting, thought-provoking questions to talk about.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a more deeper drill down into some of the topics. I think I'm going to take more contrarian viewpoint on some of the things you're going to be talking about to kind of generate some discussion, right?
Yeah. First, let's get into some updates.
What were we up to? You've been busy all week doing upgrades to our website and a
Yes.
lot of the other stuff, right? I mean, things that we've been planning, but you just COVID has kind of brought it more to the limelight, right?
Yeah. From here on YouTube, we have another interview up ready to go. Interview with Sean from Kinzu, the CEO of Kinzu, which is a messaging app for families primarily. Great interview that is live on the channel and available to watch right now.
This is one of our Thinkable Thursdays that we do, where we interview people in the industry who are, thinkers, thought provokers, leaders, and Kinzu is just a great app that we recommend to all families to have a look into as their primary messaging app, and they just did their upgrade, right?
Yeah.
So check it out.
Also, we have announced last week we now have our webinars up and running. Yep. We have 3 at the moment, and more will be added throughout the month. So check back for info on that.
Yeah, we got 2. You're going to be seeing this on Monday, so you're going to be seeing 2 of these are actually happening today on Monday, May 11th. 2 sessions, one for the East Coast, which is 5, the other one here for the West Coast, which is 8. But even if you're on the West Coast, you can join the 5 o'clock one, doesn't matter, and vice versa, right? Where we're going to be talking about online sexual predation and exploitation and what parents can do to help minimize those risks. And the cost is only $5.95, so super duper cheap. We wanted to keep it very reasonable given what's going on with COVID right now and people at home, but really important information. It kind of dovetails and segues nicely into a topic we're going to be talking about a little bit later.
Yeah. And then we have planned on the calendar our leveraging internet and social media for teens, teaching teens and young adults how to leverage social media to get college opportunities and jobs in the future. Yeah,
we take a totally different shtick on this, as I like to say, where we want to get students who are in grades 10, 11, and 12 to think about, I have nothing to hide but everything to show mindset, right? To make them more attractable to colleges, universities, employers, and how they can leverage social media to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, for sure.
Those updates from us. Now let's talk about what happened last week.
In the news. In the news.
First update you want to highlight is the Cyberbullying Research Center has some updates.
Yeah, this is just, these are our friends, right? At the Cyberbullying Research Center down in Florida. Just a great organization. And just recently they updated their resource page specifically for parents, educators, law enforcement, school counselors, teachers, even kids. If you need to report an incident specific to a specific social media or app, they've provided a significant resource now of who the contacts are on those apps to report things. Free, doesn't cost you anything. Check out their report on Cyberbullying Research Center. I think we're going to put a link on a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, the links will be in the description.
And by the way, for those of you who are watching us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, right?
Yes.
Subscribe that button, right?
That's our goal, to grow this channel.
Grow the channel.
Updates with Zoom. Hit the media. Zoom beefing up an encryption by acquiring Keybase, which is like a privacy security encryption company. A small company in New York, but they're looking to increase encryption for Zoom users. However, in the news articles, it was said these upgrades in security encryption is on Zoom calls on paid subscriptions.
Okay, so I gave a shout out a couple weeks ago to the CEO who said, mea culpa, 90 days we're going to change things. The platform was never really designed for what it was being used as, but because of COVID, that's what it's primarily being used as a conference. So they hired a huge security team. They made a bunch of changes, but isn't this interesting now where what they're saying, so they've captured all these people into Zoom, and because privacy is a big issue now, what they're saying is, yeah, we're willing to supply you that end-to-end encryption, but you're going to pay for it now.
At least that's what's being, they're planning on rolling out the encryption in around May 22nd. So we'll see if anything changes. I mean, encryption costs money, right? And it is a free platform. It's no different than social media, right? Yeah. Social media is free, and we use it knowing full well social media sells our data to companies.
You know what, though? Personally, if I was owning the company, here's what I would have said. For the next 4 or 5 months, it'll be free, right? And then after that, it'll be a premium version, right? Like, because they got all these people right now that are using it because of where they find themselves given COVID. And so a lot of schools are using it. And, schools still have another, 1-2 months left to go, maybe a little bit longer if they go into summer if they're using online stuff. So rather than charging them, why don't they do the right corporate thing and say, listen, we're going to supply that encryption for free for the next couple of months, but, starting September 1st, new school year, we are moving to a paid-for version or premium version. Just my thoughts.
That makes sense to me. Have it free for the next month and then do the subscription only.
I agree.
That could work.
Yeah.
But again, it's interesting to see that the security is likely, given headlines, will be only for paid version.
And this is just kind of information that people are learning. I mean, maybe it's wrong. Maybe they are going to make it free for the first couple months, but you would think they would have said something like that already, right? So,
yeah.
But anyways, my thoughts.
Interesting updates on Zoom for those many Zoom users.
Yeah.
Updates on the Apple-Google partnership for contact tracing apps. So we talked about it a little bit in the past.
We did.
But basically, to clarify, so Apple and Google aren't building an app themselves.
What?
I
thought they were.
No, what they're doing is they're building basically software built into the phones.
Oh, okay.
And they're working together to allow the software to talk to each other.
Gotcha.
So other people, other companies and governments can make the apps.
All right.
They're not making they're making the ability for the app to work.
Okay.
Now, a couple updates that they've released is, the platform will allow developers to build apps to monitor and alert people of coronavirus exposure.
Okay, so just to be clear, so they're developing an API that will allow a third-party vendor to create an app to do this, right?
Yeah. Now obviously you're going to be thinking like, oh, third party, like
That's where I'm
there's an
going.
issue there. Well, Google and Apple have, again, the partnership, weird, right? Have put in some clarifying privacy safeguards. First off being, and they released this PDF.
Just before you go on, you pointed out in the upper right corner there, you don't see those two symbols together very often.
I know, right?
Do you, right?
In a public document.
In a public document, right? Well, let's go through these.
So, this was released, I think this was on the Google blog. And the Apple logo's first. It's interesting how they're working together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So first off, for these apps to work, they need user consent.
Okay.
So basically,
I
what
agree with
these
that.
companies are saying is basically a government can't mandate you to use the API.
So it's not on by default.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I agree
User
with that.
consent's required.
That I agree with.
It doesn't collect any identifiable information on a person's location using GPS.
Okay, so just on that one, Brandon, you said multiple times to me, and even in some sessions, that metadata, if all you need are 3 pieces of metadata, that you can now start to maybe hone down on somebody's who they are and stuff.
Yeah, but so to help reduce that, you can't use GPS, but there's other procedures that these companies are putting into place.
Okay.
The list of people you've been in contact with never leaves your phone.
Okay, so what if, it's on the phone, right? So it's sandboxed on the phone.
Yes.
What if somebody in government gets your phone and cracks it?
Okay, then maybe that data is there.
The data's gonna be there.
Let's look at, the potential of that happening is probably...
And do the people who are on the phone need to know that they are now being tracked by the owner of the phone, right? So let's say you're on my phone and now this thing notifies whoever that you were near me.
So each person is given a changing unique identifier number.
Oh, okay.
And people who test positive unidentified to other users. So it doesn't say to me, oh, hey, Darren Lohr was infected, and you met him. It doesn't say that. It just says you were in contact with someone in the last bit that you were in contact with.
But that somebody, in order to do that, you have to have a unique identifying number to you that is recognized by me to say that I connected with you.
Yeah, and assuming you consent to use the app. If you don't consent to use the app, then I don't get any notifications.
Who's on first?
What?
What's on second? No, what's on second? That's kind of like what this is right now, right? It's like, oh my God!
The only people who can use
you
this...
fell for that one.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
The only people who can use this are public health authorities to manage COVID-19 issues.
Okay, hold on. Who are those public health authorities, number one? What kind of background has been done on them to make sure that they're not going to abuse the system? I mean, like, it's still,
There's probably be an application process.
All right.
You know, if you
hope.
as a government want to use this API, you need to apply to have like an API key to actually use it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just thoughts.
And it doesn't matter if you have an Android, Apple phone. The system works across platform. Hence why these two companies are working together.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind
That one's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Personally, Brandon, I don't know if I want to put an app like that on my phone, really.
Well, they further clarified by kind of giving this little example. So basically, here's a fictional example of how the app would work. You got Alice and Bob meet in person for a conversation. Their phones exchange anonymous and frequently changing identifier beacons using Bluetooth. Bob is later diagnosed with symptoms, and then it uses the app from a public health authority and enters his test results. So there's the consent.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances.
With Bob's consent, his phone uploads the last 14-day beacons keys to the cloud. Alice's phone downloads the beacon keys of everyone who tested positive for COVID-19 in her region. And a match is discovered with Bob's identifier beacons. Alice then receives an alert on her phone telling that she's recently been exposed to someone who's tested positive. But again, this only works if Bob consents. He tested positive, so he consents to put that in the app.
Okay, hold on a second.
But who do
Let's
I do
say husband, wife, husband comes home from work, husband going to take a shower or whatever, all of a sudden his phone goes, ding! And it shows that he was in contact with somebody who had COVID at 11:30 last night.
I don't know if it gives you a time frame. I don't think it gives you time.
Okay.
Because I think that would be too identifying for these companies.
You think?
Yeah.
Like, I still think there's, the other concern I have here is, you've said this to me before, is that when people rush to market, there's a real risk of zero-day vulnerabilities, right? Like, has people really gone through the coding and stuff?
Well, you would hope if Apple and Google, who are the biggest cell phone companies out there, working together, which you would think that they would hold each other accountable. Because let's say Apple doesn't do something and Google catches it. Google can go, hey, look, Apple broke our contract. So it would be in their best interest to keep each other accountable.
If you download it on the phone, are you able to unload it from your phone?
No details yet, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, just all kinds of questions. I don't know if I want somebody like Apple and Google and the government to be putting an app on my phone and I may sound like a little bit of a conspiracy theorist here, but I don't know if I want that to happen.
But how's that different from, let's say, you install Pokemon Go on your phone?
Well, I don't.
And then Pokemon Go is then tracking all your locations.
Because Pokemon Go is not the government.
Pokemon Go is a company.
Yeah, but they're not the government, right? They're not the government who are tracking what it is I'm saying or doing.
Yeah, but the government apparently...
Yeah.
No, this doesn't give access to government to figure out who contacted who, I don't think.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean...
Yeah, something in my guts just says, with convenience comes vulnerability. I get how convenient this is. I get what they're trying to do here. But I just don't know if I want...
Here's the thing. It's not going to work because let's talk about human interest.
Okay.
It's by consent. So if you test positive, you then choose to put that data through the app.
Okay.
Why would you do that?
But that's my point.
Why would anyone who tests positive want on their phone, walking around, hey, everyone?
Yeah, all the phones are going ding, 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 right? Like, I'm just thinking it from that perspective in terms of why would anyone, if it's not mandated and consent's required, why? I can just see some state actors trying to play with this thing, right? Trying to set it up so all of a sudden, if they want to cause a panic in this city and there's a zero-day exploit that nobody knows about, and then they access it and start triggering it.
Well, you have to assume they have to go through Google and Apple to, and those companies are,
They're doing it already, though. They're using Google and Apple to do all this kind of stuff already, right? State actors and stuff. I mean, so that's just me, right? I'm just me. Where's my tin hat? I need my little hat, right? The tin hat. But I love technology. I love the convenience of technology. I just don't know if I want government tracking me on my phone. That's all.
I'm surprised they already do that.
I know. But why would I want to do it voluntarily by consent?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So anyways, that's just me.
All right. Still have your tin hat on?
Yeah, I don't.
Sensitive user data found in Tesla car parts
That's a good one.
sold on eBay.
Okay.
So interesting story. So an
what's the
ethical hacker
backstory?
by the name of Green the Only.
That's a good handle. Green the only.
Goes by Green by short. Basically, what they did, they found some Tesla car parts on eBay, and what they found were the media control units. So like your console area,
Okay.
the center console with all the media.
Yep.
Being Tesla's super high tech, like Netflix is integrated into the
Yep.
car too.
Yeah.
What they were defined were Spotify passwords in plain text, meaning the passwords were there open
Okay.
on the computer system.
So Green found them on this unit.
Yes.
Okay.
They found Gmail and Netflix session cookies. So they're not passwords. What it means is the media control unit was already previously logged into Gmail or Netflix.
Okay.
So anyone with that media control unit could power it on and
Okay.
access the Gmail account because it was already signed in.
Gotcha.
And then they were able to find things like previously used Wi-Fi passwords.
Okay.
And then the usual things you find in cars, such as call history and phone book contacts.
Yeah, I mean, the Tesla's like a rolling computer, right? So it really shouldn't surprise us that this information. And you know, in just regular cars, we did a quick video where we went into a rental car where somebody had plugged their phone in for directions, and it had all this personal information on that driver. So it's happening regularly, but it shouldn't surprise us here. But one of the things you were telling me that Tesla was saying that the reason this is happening is because of the retrofit or something.
Well, what Green had kind of concluded in his article, which this article links to that, is the problem started when Tesla began offering retrofit services in March 2020.
Yeah.
See, while performing these upgrades, what usually happens is the old media consoles are taken out by the service technician, and then a new one's put in.
Gotcha.
Now, interesting though, apparently customers aren't allowed to keep the old device.
What? I own the car. I bought the car. I own everything in the car. It's mine. I own it.
I guess if you're using the service, there might be a contract to use the service. If you're going to choose to use this service, the service says in order for us to fulfill the service, we keep the unit.
Well, that's bogus.
So you could choose not to use the service.
That's bogus. Okay.
But then again, who else is going to use?
That's true. But then you would think that Tesla should take ownership of ensuring that the devices that they removed are either wiped or destroyed.
Apparently, the used components are either put up for sale or dumped somewhere near Tesla service centers where these devices are supposedly destroyed.
Or sold on eBay.
I mean, so
or Amazon, right?
So here's the thing. So you have Teslas, and let's say let's not the new model, like the new entry level model.
I want one of those. Although you want the what's that truck?
The Cybertruck.
You want the Cybertruck, right?
Yes.
I want a Tesla.
The one that breaks with a baseball bat?
Yeah, that's the
with
one.
a baseball?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So let's assume the owners of Teslas are usually a little more higher economic status.
Yep.
Right? And let's say they're logged into their Gmail account through Tesla's media control unit.
Gotcha.
And let's say you find one on eBay, you take it, and now you have access to someone's Gmail account who is of a higher economic status.
Oh, I'm thinking spear phishing.
Yeah, or they have the emails come in, you see the emails, or you can intercept the emails before they get reaching. Yeah, so I mean, that's the way my brain is thinking in terms of, these people probably have a little more money to spend, a little more disposable income. So let's buy all these media control units, plug them in, and just have access to all these email accounts.
It was kind of like, remember the big thing when people were trading in their old laptops without wiping them, and criminals were buying them.
People still do that.
I know, and all this personal information is still on the computers. I mean, it's like we talked about, photocopier machines now. Most of them have hard drives in them, so if you're going to be trading in or selling your old photocopier.
No, we're talking about like the big ones.
The big ones.
Not like the small, like home little ones.
No,
we're talking
no,
about like the industrial ones.
Corporate business, like the ones that were in the police department and stuff, right? Like before you trade those in or sell them, you should be pulling out the hard drives, right? Because of all the information that's being stored on those things. Tesla, I mean, it shouldn't surprise us, I mean, for sure, but there should be some kind of responsibility on Tesla's part that if they're taking the units out, then before they sell them, they should be wiping them.
It may not necessarily be Tesla themselves, because Tesla doesn't have service centers all over the world.
Well, whoever.
They usually outsource to like third-party services.
But they're still responsible because they're contracting those third-party services, right?
I'm interested in the part in terms of customers can't keep the old unit.
I know.
Like what?
Like what?
So wait, so it's either sold online. So basically, I pay you to replace my thing, and now you're going to sell my thing after I paid you?
I know.
Sorry, what?
They're double dipping.
I know.
They're double dipping. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they did that with tires, right? You go in and put in new tires. They bloody give you the tires back, or you have to pay this huge fee for them to keep it. Yeah. Well, anyways, what else?
GoDaddy suffered a data breach.
Who's GoDaddy?
They're pretty much the biggest web domain hosting company
they are.
out there. So here's what happened. In October 19, 2019, it was discovered that, well, not discovered then, but there was a breach that happened. It was only discovered on April 23rd of this year.
Ooh.
And basically, someone had gotten username and passwords and affected roughly 28,000 customers, which is a big number, but keep in mind GoDaddy is such a huge company.
Small cohort.
Yeah, it's a very small number. But that being said, GoDaddy, after they found the breach, they had no evidence of any bad things happening, besides there was a breach.
Did they do the proper thing and do a public announcement on it?
Yes, they did do a public announcement, and anyone who was affected was forced to change passwords and whatnot.
Okay.
So things to look for if you had a GoDaddy email that says, hey, change your password.
Yeah.
Probably legitimate, so look into your account to make sure that was changed.
Yeah, there you go.
So just things to look out for.
Wonder if they did the right thing like other companies done on data breaches, not like this, and offered a 1-year identity theft kind of protection. I know a lot of big companies like that are doing that now as a part of saying we're sorry, mea culpa, right?
Article.
Just a question, right?
I'm looking at on the side there. That's their official announcement. I don't see anything on that.
Yeah, just a thought. I mean, I know a lot of big companies now do that when it's a data breach and it's their fault, and they're saying, we're sorry, so you know what, we'll give you 1 year of identity theft protection.
So what you do is, as the hacker who got the data, you hack the company, steal the data, sit on it for a year.
Oh, there you go.
And then exploit it.
Yeah, why do you think like that?
Why had hackers?
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting article.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan ICNet urges parents to monitor kids' internet use.
This kind of segues into the webinar that we're doing on Monday, May 11th, 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Pacific time, yeah. And what's interesting about this is ICE units, which stand for Integrated Child Exploitation Units across Canada. Usually they're integrated, the RCMP, municipal and provincial police departments. During COVID, they've anecdotally seen an increase in reporting of these types of online luring and grooming going on than they did pre-COVID. Again, anecdotal in nature for sure, but it's still a concern. And so that's what we're actually going to be talking about on our webinar. In fact, in the webinar, I got permission from a teen and their parent to actually use a grooming, to demonstrate how a grooming process actually took place within a texting environment. And it's been our experience that most groomings look just like this. So it's a really good blueprint to bring to the attention of parents and kids what this thing looks like and to be aware of. But yeah, I mean, and it's not just in Canada. Some of my colleagues in Great Britain that we've interviewed have said the same thing in Australia. And a couple of my colleagues in the United States are saying the same thing, that they're kind of seeing a spike. But what's really interesting about this is, as you know, last week, our Thinkable Thursday was Chief Delmanic with the Victoria Police Department. I think it's going out this Thursday, right?
Yes.
Is our Thinkable Thursday this week? And I asked him if he has seen an increase in the Victoria Police Department over these calls, and he said no, that they haven't, right? So again, anecdotal, some areas seem to be having spikes compared to other areas, but again, is the spike because there's more predators online hunting, or is it because there's just more people online, which equals more people reporting?
Or is that police aren't doing traditional policing work necessarily, and there's more time than spent investigating?
Yeah, that too, right? So all these good questions, but what is important is that it does happen online. Again, I don't want to frighten, we want to enlighten based upon our webinar, that these things, especially for kids under the age of 13, seem to be the primary target. So I think it's really important and very timely that we talk about this topic in a very open and honest and evidence-based way. And that's what the webinar on Monday, May 11th, 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's what that webinar is all about. So please sign up and check in.
Yeah. Interesting article by an influencer, safety influencer.
Yeah, Anne Collier, just a wonderful person who I follow. She's been involved within the field of digital literacy for many years now. And this article was all about, we got to get out of the mindset, we boomers, we still think that there's a difference between the online world and the digital world. And to the kids, it's just one world, or what academia calls on life, and we've kind of adopted that phrase, right, in the on life world. And so when we educate, we shouldn't be educating now just so that it's digital centric or real world centric. It should be a morphed approach, or an on life approach, where what we're teaching, it works both ways, right? And so that's what that article is really all about, and making people think a little bit. This is nothing new to the kids, to the teens, right? Because again, they don't see the difference because they were brought up within this digital world. Whereas for the older adults, we still see the difference, and therefore we teach safety and digital literacy based upon those differences, and maybe we need to rethink that, and that's what that article is all about.
Good.
Yeah.
Link will be in the description in the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Canadian government looking at expanding internet service in rural areas across Canada, so areas that don't have internet, or areas that have slow internet, given how so many people now are online. It's really emphasizing the disparity between people who have internet, those people who don't, people who have fast internet, and those people who don't.
Digital divide, right? Kind of called it. And I just put out a tweet today on this very issue. If there's anything that COVID-19 has now proven, is how the internet has been such an advantage to us when it comes to information, education, communication, and entertainment. And because of that, it's my opinion that we should treat it like a public utility, like water and electricity. And government should be treating it that way and governing it that way, right? So that we're making it available as much as we can nationwide. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's a matter of the logistics of that to actually work.
If they can build a oil pipeline between Alberta and the United States or the West Coast, surely they can do this.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the oil pipeline, it's a private company.
Well, that's my point. My point is maybe we need to take the internet out of the hands of private industry and make it a public utility, and then govern it and police it as a public utility. Because I think if we were to do that, we would bring down the costs associated with data, especially because right now Canada has some of the highest data rates of anywhere in the world, right, compared to everybody else. And we can make it far more accessible, right? Just some thoughts, right? Again, I really don't, I think government does have a role to play in this. Rather than private industry. Because again, private industry is all about the money. And if there's no money to get high-speed internet into northern British Columbia or northern Canada, then there's going to be less impetus for them to do that, whereas government would make it happen.
Well, that's why Elon is building satellites.
That would be cool too, right? But
that's private industry.
That's private industry, right? So again, Again, if with private industry, I mean, but we're a social public company, right? Like we're a private company, but we're social private in nature, right? We have a very strong social role to play, and we're very social in what it is that we do and donations that we make and that stuff. But I just find that big companies, if there's not a profit to be made, there's far less impetus to make that happen. Whereas if government would take this over as a public utility and govern it and legislate and police it as such, then I think we would see this happening far quicker into those areas that don't presently have the broadband. That was my phone. I forgot to put it on vibrate mode, right? So, any more thoughts on that?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
It does. I mean, it'll come out of the taxpayer money, but if it's a public utility, I'm willing to make that happen, right? So, especially if it brings down the costs. So.
Yeah. Anyways.
Now, private industry will go, oh, the government gets involved, it'll just cost you more. I don't think so. I think once the government gets involved, private industry will go, well, if we want more skin in this game, we're going to have to drop our prices. Creates competition.
Yeah, sure.
Just thoughts.
All right.
Thoughts from a boomer brain.
Oh, well. That's the show.
Is it?
Yeah.
I guess I should take off my silver helmet now to protect me from those government controlling waves and things.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, right? Because I talked about government controlling, but yet I said the government should be making the internet a public utility. Well, it goes, wow, oh well. Yeah, good show.
Good show.
So, it was interesting to kind of drill down a little bit deeper on my thoughts and your thoughts, argument, counter argument and stuff. So, and that's what it's all about. It's all about, and I think that that's what these shows are all about, is to report what's going on and then to have a further discussion to drill down a little deeper from my brain, which is a boomer brain, to a Gen X, right, brain, or millennial brain, getting involved as well. So, good show.
Alrighty.
Good show. Don't forget, this Thursday, we have our Thinkable Thursday going on, which it'll be Chief Delmatic talking about how the police department has used social media and in COVID-19. And Monday, May 11th, we have our webinar on sexual predation exploitation and what parents can do to help minimize the risks. To get links to that, just head to our website, which is
whitehatter.ca.
thewhitehatter.ca.
Link will be in the description in the video.
Including registering for the webinar, right?
Yeah. And we'll keep updated on any more webinars we're going to do here on the show. We'll announce those updates.
Yeah, and they're paid webinars, so they're $5.95, right? We're still going to do some free stuff, but as a company, we still have to kind of make money to do stuff like this, right? But we wanted to keep the pricing down, right, and make it very, very accessible by all. So, on behalf of myself, Darren,
Brandon, thank you everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.